I figured we were a little overdue to talk about the latest surrounding Kirk Cousins, his future with the Falcons, or maybe with another team. Will Atlanta release him, trade him, or keep him past March 17th when he gets a $10 million roster bonus? So let's kind of start by looking at a report that came out from Charles Robinson from Yahoo Sports, who said, I thought the Falcons were bluffing about keeping Kirk Cousins. I don't think that anymore. They are going to roll right through the Sunday deadline to lock in another $10 million in 2026 guaranteed money. Either he's a pricey backup or a trade candidate. And I've seen some other people toss out that, hey, they've already paid him $90 million for 1 year of service. Why not make it $100 million for 2 years of service? And I don't disagree that from a financial standpoint, Atlanta does not have a lot to gain by releasing him. There's no salary cap gains whatsoever. You'd have to go find a different backup quarterback. It'd probably cost you more money, if we're being honest. So from a financial standpoint, there's not much to gain by releasing him. Now, from a trade standpoint, you could alleviate some of that money and the cap issues that would follow with the release. So I think best case scenario for Atlanta is they find a trade partner. Now, that's dependent on someone willing to give up anything for Kirk Cousins, which maybe a team won't because they believe the Falcons are bluffing and they don't want to pay Kirk $10 million more, so they're going to release him, and then at that point they can sign him without having to give up any draft capital. I'm looking at this entire situation like a chess game, except it's not Falcons v. Kirk Cousins. There's a third player, which is the 31 other teams, or there's a certain amount of teams that are looking for a quarterback. The Browns, the Giants, the Steelers, maybe even the Vikings, I've heard, back up J.J. McCarthy. That's a wild idea, but I guess it's possible. So we've got 3 players at a chessboard right now, and that's what's creating so much chaos and confusion and wildly different speculation as to what's going to happen. I've always been under the mindset that Atlanta will not keep Kirk Cousins, not solely because of the money, although $10 million for Kirk to be a backup, $10 million more is a little bit, rich, but whatever. Arthur Blank's a billionaire. But it was more about when Kirk went to meet with Arthur Blank and said, I want to go start elsewhere. To me, that paired with Cousins just splatting an egg, is that even a verb, on Raheem Morris's head when he was in New Orleans at Radio Row for the Super Bowl and said, yeah, I played through a shoulder and elbow injury. That made Morris look like an idiot. You're a head coach and you didn't know your player was going through a major injury to his throwing shoulder? Are you unaware of your own team, or did you just play him through that anyway? Because you all said that he never had an injury, and he popped up on the injury report for 1 day, and Cousins said that was a clerical error, and that was it. So those 2 things to me, I don't know, were bridge burning level, but they made it very difficult for Cousins to come back to the locker room and go, all right, let's just pretend like none of that happened. You're going to be our backup. You're going to do a great job. And on top of all those 2 things, how about the fact that Cousins is supposed to mentor Penix? Does it seem like he wants to be a mentor? I didn't get that sense. I didn't get the vibe of after he got benched, he was like, you know what? I'm excited for my new role, and I can't wait to be here to support Michael every single week, and I'm going to do my absolute best to make sure he's ready. No, the guy has his helmet on. I didn't see him holding a clipboard. He wanted to go to the games. He wants to play still. So for those reasons, I have a tough time rationalizing why anyone would bring that back to your locker room. Sure, financially, there's not much to gain, but from a human element, I struggle with that. But the way you could convince me I'm wrong about that is if Cousins says, you know what, I've thought it over. I've got a wife and kids. I don't really want to pack up and move to Cleveland or New Jersey and live there for 7 months. I doubt his family would come with. They'd probably stay in Atlanta, right? That's the case for a lot of older veteran players when they spend a long portion of their career in one city, then they go elsewhere. Like, you guys don't have to come with. I'm just going to get a condo there, and I'll be living there from July until the season ends, and I'll come back for the bye week, and you guys will come up and visit for weekends. And so maybe Cousins goes, it's not worth the squeeze there. I will accept that. No one wants me as a starter. I'm not even going to go to Cleveland or New York and be guaranteed a starting job. who's to say I won't get there and they won't take a quarterback at second or third, and then I'm right back where I started here in Atlanta. So if Cousins came to that realization, then I could see him staying. And I could see Atlanta being on board with, we're going to keep you as a backup. But that would require, I think, a big shift from Kirk. And the way he spoke at New Orleans, and asking to meet with Arthur Blank, I don't think you meet with Arthur Blank to go, hey, Art, what's going on? Just want to let you know I'm stoked to be the backup next year. Can I get you anything? Door open or door closed? That doesn't seem like how a meeting with the owner would go. So that's why I'm in this pretzel right now. Now, here's where it gets juicy. Like, this is kind of the NBA side of like how NBA offseason stuff goes, because Russell Wilson has a little bit of an influence in all this. The Browns and Giants are meeting with Russell Wilson. Cleveland met with him on Thursday. Giants are meeting with him today on Friday. Let's say the Browns, for the sake of this argument, are the most interested party in Cousins. Stefanski and Kirk worked together in Minnesota back in 2019. What if the Browns are waiting for Cousins to be released? And the Falcons are like, you have to trade for him. And like, nah, we don't think you're going to actually keep him on your roster. We'll wait for you to release him. We're going to call your bluff. So then as we get closer to this March 17th deadline, 3 days from now on Sunday, he's not released. And the Browns are like, crap, they may not be bluffing. All right, we need to panic them. We need to make them nervous. Let's bring Russ in for a visit. Let's signal to Atlanta, we don't need Kirk. Keep him. We've got a different quarterback. We'll roll with Russell Wilson. And now the Falcons are like, oh, shit. We thought they would blink first and they would trade for Kirk. But now it looks like they're going to go with Russell Wilson. And now we're going to be stuck with Kirk Cousins when the plan all along was not to have him on our roster, but to just try and get a trade for him. Now we've got this 3-player chess going on. Are the Browns serious about Russell? I think there's some legitimate interest in him. Maybe it's legitimate interest and added bonus, it makes the Falcons queasy. It makes them think that we are content with not trading for Kirk Cousins or waiting for you to release him. So the Falcons are going to keep Kirk. They're going to pay him $10 million, and they don't want him because they don't want that in their locker room after everything he said and him not wanting to be a good Boy Scout and fall in line and be a backup. That's the drama. That's where I'm starting to connect dots right now. And those are just dots. Just connecting. Dots, good pretzels too. So there we stand. Now, March 17th is going to be a big day here. So make sure you are subscribed no matter what happens. Atlanta keeps Cousins, trades him, releases him. We will get you guys a video. I don't want you to miss my reaction to whatever the Kirk Cousins outcome is. So click the subscribe button down below. That way you do not miss a single thing. Now, next up, I want to look at some of the free agent acquisitions and losses, not just for Atlanta as a refresher, but I thought we could go through all NFC South teams because the Panthers have been a little busy, the Saints have been way busier than I expected, and the Buccaneers have been moderately busy. So we'll look at that. Real quick reminder, though, Fanatics, 25% off. Pretty cool Falcons hoodie, I think, at least. Go to chatsports.com/fanatics. I put this link in the comments and description of today's video. So if you want to get some Falcons gear in your wardrobe without spending a boatload of cash, chatsports.com/fanatics. So maybe if you've been following this whole time, you know all these moves by heart right now, but we've got Jake Matthews signing that 2-year extension. Diablo and Leonard Floyd are the two notable external additions. You've got a linebacker to compete with Troy Anderson / maybe even have Anderson's spot due to all the health concerns for Troy over the past 2 seasons. And then Leonard Floyd is your B-level pass rusher signing. I think he's going to be better than any pass rush you had on the roster last year. I don't think he's going to come in here and take the 31st team in sacks and make him the 15th best team in sacks, right? I think he's probably going to improve it, but I don't think this should be a satisfying result to your craving for a pass rusher. Mike Hughes comes back on a 3-year deal, but I think it's more like a 1-year deal based on the guaranteed money. Some re-signings, Taquan Graham, Kadero Hodge, Mike Ford, and Hodge going to be great on special teams. Brandon Parker also joining or rejoining as well. Him and Storm Norton are just a couple of backup offensive linemen, but good tackle depth and swing tackle presence here with Storm. So those are the signings. Some of the losses now. Drew Dahlman goes to Chicago. Never felt like the Falcons were really going to play ball And Ryan Newsel, by the way, he's in a weird spot. He's got a tender of right of first refusal. So if another teams make Newsel an offer, the Falcons can match that offer and keep him. So he's kind of in like this no man's land, so to speak. Jarrett, I was surprised to see that he revealed to the Chicago media there was not a conversation with Atlanta. They just released him. He was surprised. I thought they'd go to him and say, listen, we want to keep you, but we can't keep you for this number. We can offer you $8 million. If you want to take that, sweet. If you don't like that, we can release you, and you can see if you can find out more money elsewhere. And if you can, best of luck. They never even attempted that. They just outright cut him, and that caught him by surprise. Richie Grant going to go to the Niners. Eddie Goldman to the Commanders. So those are the departures so far. No signings on offense, you might notice. Like no new signings, just 2 offensive tackles coming back to be backups. Rondale Moore is visiting with the Vikings. I thought the Falcons could have interest in him because they traded for him. They never saw him play towards ACL in August, but maybe not. Now let's just run through the other teams really quickly here. The Panthers, how about J.C. Horn getting this extension? I don't know if we talked about this. I don't think this is a reflection of what anyone thinks of Horn. I think this is just the Panthers going, if we pay him a lot of money, then everyone will think he's really, really good. And he has been good when he's on the field, but he's missed a lot of time. They way overpay here. He is just not that good of a safety for this type of money. That's going to be a regret. I think he'll be off the roster 2 years minimum. Let's see. This guy, haven't heard of him before. He got $20 million. Bobby Brown, I do know him. That's a good signing right there. Who? They're just throwing money around. So this is kind of like what David Tepper does. I don't know if this is even a secret or quiet. He's one of the wealthiest NFL owners out there. I don't think that's new information, but they're all billionaires, so you think they're all just rich, but there are levels to their billionaires is. Like, no one's even close to the Broncos ownership, the Walton Penner Group, Walmart. But David Tepper, I think, is second or third richest owner in the league. So he's happy to spend cash on players. And then some other losses here, or some signings, excuse me. And then some losses. So Johnny Hecker, he's incredible. He goes to the Titans. Xavier Woods. Miles Sanders was released. He signed with the Cowboys, joining they also, did we have Rico Dowdle on this for the Carolina Panthers? Was that there? Maybe? No? Rico Dowdle, he signed with the Panthers. So, yeah, I guess we got to add that. My bad. But he leaves Dallas and he joins Chuba Hubbard in Carolina. Okay, moving on to some other NFC South teams. So we got the Panthers. Next up would be the New Orleans Saints. And they've been spending more than I expected. I mean, Chase Young, 3-year, $51 million. They were in beyond cap hell. They had to restructure Derek Carr's contract just to get above, water, and now they are shelling out big bucks. Tyrann Mathieu comes back. Juwan Johnson getting $10 million plus a year. Justin Reed getting $10 million plus a year. Cam Jordan, he was never a free agent, so it's not much of a re-signing. It's just he's staying in New Orleans. How about that? As for their losses, no. Oh, still signing. Sorry. Got a new corner from the 49ers, I think it is. These are just a bunch of, honestly, no-name guys. For someone who covers the NFL, I've never heard of Will Clapp. Now some losses. Paulson Adebo, I think, is going to be a tough loss for them. He was very good up until he broke his leg. I like that signing a lot for the Giants. Peyton Turner, hey, that's the guy who ended Kirk Cousins' career in Atlanta because Caleb McGarry got tripped and Turner had a clear path to the quarterback, and he hurt his shoulder and elbow in that game that they lost down in the Big Easy. MVS goes to Seattle. So these are the Saints' departures. Now for the Buccaneers, Levante David, times a flat circle. He always resigns on a 1-year, $10-ish million contract. Hassan Reddick, $14 million. Leonard Floyd signed for $10 million. Ask yourself, would you rather have Floyd or Reddick? If Reddick didn't have the whole year with the Jets, I'd probably say Reddick, but we'll see what he looks like after that season. Godwin comes back. The Buccaneers really wanted to re-sign him. And they also brought in a new punter, along with a re-signing for Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask is living a great life. I mean, he's just chilling in Florida, cashing checks, being a backup with a ring too. No, he was okay. He was drafted. Yeah, they signed Brady, and then they drafted Trask to be the backup for Brady. 2nd-round pick, so he had a decent contract too. So he's doing very well for himself. Some losses now. Oh, some more gains. Sorry, excuse me. Anthony Walker comes over from Miami, and a slot corner, Kendall Vildor, comes over as well. I think he was with Detroit last, with the Bears at one point, the Vikings too. Okay, now some losses. Their first-round pick in 2021 signed with the Browns. There's the linebacker swap with the Dolphins right there, and that's pretty much it. So not a lot of departures so far for any of the other three. Really, well, I guess Atlanta's got the biggest departures if you added up all these players' contracts. Dahlman and Grady Jarrett combined for over $60 million. That will do it for us, but we will be live. I look forward to seeing all the usual suspects. You know who you are at 2 p.m. Eastern for fifth day of NFL free agency. This will be the last day we go live for it. So if you haven't joined yet, please do so. I guarantee you're going to have a good time.